Sharma, our first speaker, special guest of the inaugural session. Next, I welcome Mr. Sagi, Israel Economic Council to India, Trade and Economic Affairs. Welcome, sir. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to say again, thank you to all the people, the great partners of Infosec. Thank you for inviting me to take care of this wonderful event. And I think also on the personal level, actually, thank you all of you. Thank you for raising such an important issue and making an entire event dedicated only to that. As we all know, we have a lot of virtual events these days, and it's important to take the time and focus on such important theme. I will share my screen with all of you, so just give me a second. Can you all see the screen and hear me? Just not or
Yes, sir.
so. Okay, so again, hi everybody, namaste, namaste G, shalom. My name is Sagi. I'm the head of the Economic and Trade Mission of Israel to Mumbai. I'm part of the Israeli diplomatic mission here to India. And for this next few minutes, I would like, as you can see here, just to cover this kind of issues, to talk about the Israeli innovation, and to focus on the Israeli data privacy. Um, the way it's done in Israel, the relevant entities, what is the logic behind it, and how we see it. So just let's dive into it. So first thing first, where is Israel on the map? I know everybody here heard of Israel, and everybody knows it's a country, but where is it? So it's at the heart of the Middle East, as you can see it. Very, very small country, 9 million people. In reference, in population-wise, Israel is about the size of the city of Bangalore. So in that term, we're a very small country. In terms of size, you see the difference between Israel here in the middle in the purple and how big is India. So it's a small country in terms of size and population. But when it comes to R&D, when it comes to innovation, to very, very high-end technologies, as you can see, Israel is here at the top, level of innovation, if you compare it worldwide. We actually spend a lot of money, and by we I mean the Israeli government, every year, literally every year, more than 4% of our GDP dedicated to R&D, to companies that do R&D. So we're always leading the OECD countries in that aspect. Sometimes the South Koreans are actually winning us, but in general, we're always number one or two in terms of R&D expenditure by the government. If you can take a second to have a quick look on this slide, I mean, there's a very good quote here by the late Mr. Jobs that innovation is what distinguishes between a leader and a follower. But if you can just take a quick look here on how many investments we get for investment, and I think one of the good examples of the Israeli strength in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, is this. This is actually a bit not updated. It's more than 90% Israeli companies are listed today in the Nasdaq, in Wall Street, the tech companies stock market. Well, then there's no surprise that a lot of MNCs, a lot of multinational corporates have spotted Israel. So it began with IBM and Intel coming at the early 70s, more than 40 years ago. And throughout the years, you can see all the big names, Materials, Microsoft, Philips, Samsung, HP. In the last few years, we see more and more data companies, which is really, really relevant. Amazon is here, Facebook, Google, eBay, Apple. So a lot of big companies are here. Yahoo, very relevant for data security, also in Israel. All those companies have in Israel, when all the companies are mentioned here, they have a center in Israel. They do R&D in Israel. They do some kind of manufacturing. They do some research. Okay, so they have like a firm establishment within the country because of the strength of the industry. This is some of our leading clusters. So we have here AI, cybersecurity, again, very relevant for the topic of this session. Fintech is there, healthcare, IoT, and automotive. Israel is leading. The Israeli companies are really making them known worldwide because of their good abilities in all these industries. If I may just talking very briefly about us, about what the organization I'm coming from. So we're the Foreign Trade Administration. We're part of the Israeli government, the Ministry of economy and industry. And this is what we're trying to do. This is the way we're trying to support the Israeli companies. If you are all familiar with the Indian DGFT under the Indian Ministry of Industry, we're doing something very, very similar. Okay? We're like the Israeli DGFT in that sense. We support the companies that want to export. We make trade agreements in order to reduce customs and solve trade barriers. And this is the biggest unit of our department, the one I'm a part of, the Economic Commissions Abroad. So this is the way the Israeli economic attachés, economic consuls are spread these days. We have 45 different attachés. We operate actually more than 45 offices. So as you can see, this is the way we're spread literally all over the globe, from Sydney in Australia, Eastern Asia, all of Europe, Africa, and both North and Latin America. You can see the three dots here in India. We'll touch that in a second. What do we do? What are we trying to do for the Israeli companies? Get to them connections, okay, with distributors, with importers here in India, integrators, anybody that wishes to work with an Israeli company from the Indian side is more than welcome to talk to us, approach us, tell us what he needs, what he's looking for in Israel. More than happy to scout for him, more than happy to do the matchmaking for whatever you may need, you as a firm or you as an individual. Solving trade barriers, professional information, B2Bs. Again, this year it's all virtual, of course, but on more, conventional years and regular times, we do a lot of outgoing, incoming delegations. And we have a very good governmental institute connection, which is the best part of our work as well. This is us. This is the three different missions here to India. So we have me and my two dear colleagues. We kind of, if I may say, divided India between ourselves because such a big country and such a big industry, a huge market. So we got our office in Delhi in the embassy covering northern parts of India. This light turquoise kind of blue. Darker blue is us, central, western regions, based in Mumbai, but actually working on all of these regions. And third and last, southern India, they're based out of Bangalore and covering all this light blue color. The state of Israel, the government of Israel, values India a lot, values its relationships with India as a partner in terms of defense in the region, in terms of one of the biggest democracy in the world, but for sure one of the most notable democracies in this region. It goes to defense, it goes to economical ties, cultural ties. Again, Israel sees India as one of its biggest partners, and this is why we have three different missions based out in India. We don't have that in every country in the world, I can assure you that. Our goal as the Economic and Trade Mission is to promote the Israeli exports and mainly and also to raise investment. So if you're looking to invest in a cybersecurity company or in data protection initiative, I strongly advise to come and check out the Israeli capabilities, the Israeli companies, the Israeli VCs. As you saw in my former slides, we have a lot of foreign investments coming into the country, mainly from Europe and the US. I encourage all of you thinking about investing to check the Israeli option as well. I can just say very quickly that the ROI is usually very good. This is our team, my team, people I'm working with. You can see here Mr. Gupta, Siddhan Gupta. You will get his email later on by the end of this presentation. He's covering cybersecurity in our team and data protection as well. So you can reach out to him and whatever queries you may have, he'll be more than happy to help you. So this is going more in depth into what's going on in Israel. So we have the PPA, the Privacy Protection Authority. It was formed by those laws. Okay, it's based on the governmental law. You can have it really very quickly here just to get it will enforce its provision with regard to data protection. The PPA imposes necessary fines actually when it's needed, and its power to terminate and suspend activities of databases by suspending or erasing their registration. So if you're violating their protocols, you're violating the regulations, they can very easily, fund you or actually shut down your operations. It doesn't happen a lot, but by law, they can do it. Okay, so if it's needed, they have the way to punish people who want to, malicious people or people who want to take advantage of the situation. So you have it all here. I mean, something which is very probably important to mention out is the second bullet point. Data protection in Israel is becoming more and more important. Israel is very, very, very tech oriented. Everybody has their mobiles. Everybody has their, access to the internet, everybody's on social media, everybody's doing their online purchasing. It's needed. Okay, we need to make sure that our privacy is protected, and this is why those kind of organizations and entities by the government or for the government by law to make sure that today and in the future the people of Israel can just go online and feel rather free and rather comfortable. Know that nobody's monitoring the private data, nobody's collecting the private information about them, and to allow us just to keep on with our lives and the good use of the internet without to being afraid of anything. Um, in my perspective, data privacy relates very, very deeply into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the way that you protect all your digital assets, everything which is online, everything which is computerized is exposed, and the way to make sure that you're not exposed to a breach, to a theft, to a ransom attack is by very, very good defense, by very, very good cybersecurity capabilities. So here we can see this kind of very unique ecosystem, Israeli system that allows it. So in Israel, I don't know if you know it or not, but everybody must go to the military, men and women. So I was in the military, my wife was in the military, everybody goes at the age of 18. And one of the biggest and most important units of our military is the intelligence unit. A lot of people come out of there very, very well educated, and they're actually just, at the age of 21, 22, they are leading, literally leading the Israeli front in cybersecurity in the private sector or in the private sector, as you can see here, the industry, or in the government, okay? And obviously academia is a very big part of Israel and Israel's life. So all these four entities together, people will go back and forward from one to another. People will talk to each other. People will get to know each other, talk to each other. Again, Israel is very small, only 9 million people. So I know it sounds a lot, but trust me, we need to know each other, then it just happens when we're just kind of running in the same circle. So this is one of the strengths of our ecosystem and why we're built so well. This is, if you want to go to the subsector, then this is a handful of them. We do, I mean, the industry does more things. It's like the most notable ones. So you can take a quick peek on that and see what are the Israeli companies are actually doing in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of allowing us this data protection that we need so much these days. And I'll be honest, I think this slide is basically, selling itself. There's not, I didn't put, didn't need to write anything. I can just stick it. I took it from our dear friend at the Israeli Cyber Directorate. Okay, again, it's a governmental entity. Okay, it's nothing with the private sector. It's by government. So all the data you see here was collected and published by them, and they don't have like, they're not biased. They're not, nobody's paying anything. You don't have any kind of stock or I don't know, would anybody know any shareholders? And I think this is a very good slide to explain the Israeli capability in cybersecurity, because look at the year. It's 2020. I think everybody here in this room knows that it was a tough year for all industries, for all the markets worldwide, with the global pandemic, global economical crisis, social crisis, and yet the Israeli companies, it's only 2020, okay? This is the figures you're seeing, the numbers, it's only 2020. Just look at those fantastic numbers that the companies managed to get. Look at our export, roughly 7 billion US dollars for only cybersecurity export. Okay, about as I mentioned earlier, Israel is a very very hot spot for investors. 31 of the cyber investments are going into Israel. 31%. That's crazy again for such a small country. Okay, it's not like the US, not a huge country. Small, but look how much of the investments we are getting. 5 unicorns. To the ones that are not familiar with the term, sorry. Unicorn is a company which is estimated over $1 billion by worth, and it's not in the it's not in the stock market. Okay, they didn't went to an IPO, and yet they are worth more than $1 billion. So we have 5 new ones. We have much more than that. 2025 new ones joined this very very exclusive club in Israel. So yeah, we have here private companies with over $1 billion. Fantastic numbers, fantastic figures. We're very, very proud of it. We're keeping up the good work. We're keeping on supporting our industry. We're keeping on supporting our exporters to allow us to flourish and succeed in 2021 and the years to come, and to grow, to expand to other markets, and to get in depth in current markets. India is one of them. Israeli cybersecurity companies are working in India. We wish to see more of them. We wish to see them expand in India, and we wish to see Indians invest in Israeli companies. So if this is relevant to you, the company you're representing, to the people that you're working with, please, encouraging and inviting all of you, please reach out to us and talk to us and let us know how can us, the Israeli mission to Mumbai, economic mission to Mumbai, can be of any help to you. Few of the events, this is the three major events that are going on in Israel every year. Obviously, last year and this year, we're not sure what will happen due to COVID-19. But CyberTech was a very, very well organized event last year in January. We actually took a delegation from the banks with over 35 bank representatives from all over India for cybersecurity. You know, all the big ones, SBI, HDFC, everybody was there. HLS and CyberTech are something Israel is big about, not very relevant for the data protection, but it's there. And Cyber Week. So this is happening every year. Probably this year will be some shifts because of COVID, but pretty sure that from 2022 onwards we'll go back to the same route. And you're again more than welcome to talk to us if you want to get to one of these events and just visit Israel on the way and get to know the industry and the country. And I guess I should say that again, any questions or inquiries, please reach out to us. You got here the email. Dhanyavad. Dhanyavad to all of you for your time and for this opportunity. And I hope that I managed to put my little contribution into the successful event we're just beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. If anyone wants to